Okay, now having just talked about Pisces and the symbols and signs, this is part 2, looking at understanding the Ascendant and how Pisces rising person actually works. Here's an example of a chart randomly drawn, just to show what a Pisces rising would look like. The top left box is your Ascendant. This is the South Indian system. The Ascendant Pisces is ruled by Jupiter, which also rules the 1st and the 10th house. This particular aspect of this lagna means that Pisces very much associates with the career and self as one thing. Jupiter is actually debilitated in the 11th house and exalted in the 5th house. This gives Jupiter, specifically Pisces people, a particular ability to work well with children, creativity, and also educational ability. They're natural teachers, and they look upon their children also as students, providing the ability of them to learn. They struggle a little with social groups and friendships, finding it quite hard to see between good and bad, friends and enemies, due to their quite benevolent nature. Looking at lordships of Sun and Mars, Sun owns the 6th house. This makes Pisces generally quite friendly towards enemies, but it can make Pisces have issues with authority and father figures. They're very much wanting to go with the flow, and in a way they act more like mothers themselves, particularly to do with their association with the 5th house. Internally, Pisces can get quite confused about who a friend is and who an enemy is. They can see the sort of soul of other people and also be able to connect with them. Mars owns Pisces' 2nd and 9th house, which makes them very much action orientated towards learning, wisdom, morality, and things of a religious nature. As I said before, the moon owns the 5th house from Pisces, and therefore can give Pisces a very motherly and nurturing attitude towards children and students and studying. Most planets in Pisces there are no actual enemies. These planets now, starting with the first one, Saturn, owns the 11th and 12th house. This makes Pisces again have some difficulties with friends and also loss. They can sometimes be a little bit too generous with their finances and need to keep an eye on their expenses. Mercury owns Pisces' 4th and 7th house, the areas of relationship and home. Therefore challenges Pisces to really understand themselves, particularly organise the way they feel about things, rather than being too ungrounded. Pisces therefore attract people or partners that are very grounded and much more organised than them, and they actually help them organise. The Pisces approach therefore is to integrate with their opposite to become a more complete person. Without grounding the Pisces and tying their cord to something, much like the earlier picture showed, Pisces can drift through water without having any clear direction. Venus owns both the 3rd and 8th house from Pisces. Venus exalts in Pisces as well. This gives Venus very strong, passionate feelings about things, which can sometimes overwhelm them. Also, it can get them into difficult situations by having too open a heart. Sometimes people can misunderstand Pisces and therefore misinterpret the way they feel about things. That also can cause problems in relationships. Well, next we'll look at a chart, and we'll look at the chart of Deepak Chopra.